Hi VC, Chris here with my introduction video to the community. I've been watching videos now for several years. Only recently started commenting and I thought I'd join in the fun. As you can tell from the accent, I'm from the UK, specifically the northeast of England, um, just outside a city called Newcastle in a town called Wallsend. Now, anyone who's into the sort of heavy metal might recognise Wallsend as being the home of Neat Records. They were based on the high street here in Wallsend, and obviously through my youth I got access to a lot of the music because it was readily available locally. Um, so the first album I'm actually going to show on the VC is an album I don't listen to that often, but it was the first one I came to when I was going through the alphabet for Neat Records, and there we've got Avenger. So like I say, it's not an album I listen to much, but primarily because this chap here, Swifty, was in a band called Satan as well, who I do like and followed them through to this day as well. So there you go, the first album I've shown is Avenger, and it's one I haven't listened to in years. There you go. Right, so record collection. Started collecting mid-70s. Got both CDs, as you can see, and vinyl. Got probably around about 2,000 CDs and about 1,200 albums. The CDs predominantly came in from around about 1990 through to the mid-2000s, just because they were readily available, and vinyl was hard to pick up at the time. Never sold any of my vinyl. I kept all of that because I'd made a mistake previously when I was a student in selling some for beer money. Now at the time I was into my heavy metal, so kept those albums, and the albums that I bought prior to that, which were more of a prog vein, were easy meat to sell, and they went. So the likes of King Crimson, Gentle Giant, Yes, those kind of things I sold for beer money. Big mistake, because it's proven very expensive to try and get them again, and some of them I just can't afford the money to pay for them. If you're looking at a nice clean copy of In the Court of Crimson King now, first pressing, get your wallet out because it's going to take a lot of money. So, first real album that I ever got. Now, I obviously had some albums given to me as gifts, little compilation things. If you know anything about your UK music scene in the 70s, there was a set of albums called Top the Pops albums, which are basically just cover versions of hits of the day. I had a couple of them, but the first album that I got, that I really call my own, I got for Christmas on 1976 for my parents, and remains to this day one of my favourite albums, and probably the most played album I own, and that is 2112 by Rush. This is my wife's favourite band, so I would never be able to get rid of these, and probably in my top 3 favourite bands of all time. I love this album. It's just a superb piece of music. Keep going back to it, never going to tire of it. I think it's the album I probably own most copies of as well. I think I've got around about 6 different vinyl versions of it and a couple on CD as well. But stunning album, and obviously anyone who's into rock music probably knows it very well. So there you go, 2112. That's my first album that I ever received of anyone. There you go. I try and keep this fairly short because there are a number of contests out there at the moment that I think could be a good opportunity to show my record collection in a more structured way. So what I've done is I've picked up about half a dozen things that were sitting in the pile waiting to be filed, that I've picked up at either gigs recently or record fairs or just at one of the local record shops. And I thought I'd just give you a sort of idea of what sort of stuff I'm listening to at the moment. Now, like I said, I used to listen predominantly heavy metal. That was all I used to listen to at any time, and I wouldn't countenance listen to anything else. But over the years, I've matured a bit, and my tastes have changed. So I've got quite a broad spectrum of stuff, from classical through to jazz, through to blues, through to world music nowadays. So plenty of stuff out there that I do listen to. First album I'm going to show, I picked up at a gig at Gateshead Sage, which is one of the local concert venues, and this was a show called the Transatlantic Sessions, which is a sort of folk bluesy type collaborative which gets lots of guest people up to do vocals and sing along to and stuff like that. Really good stuff. Excellent musicianship, and one of the guests this time round was a chap called John Paul White, and this is his album Beulah, guessing, and he was originally in a band called the Civil Wars, which I quite liked, but don't own any of their stuff. And he was brilliant on the night. Great bluesy Americana. So I picked up the album and not regretted it since. Absolutely superb. Highly recommended if you like your Americana with a sort of bluesy slant. Okay. Next one is a pick up at a recent record fair. And this is more of a proggy vein, and this is Bruford. Feels good to me. Brilliant stuff. Bruford, obviously, from Yes, King Crimson. And he has a brilliant lineup on here, including Dave Stewart and Alan Holdsworth. Alan Holdsworth playing on this is absolutely superb. Superb guitar player. Well worth a listen if you like your proggy stuff. Can't go wrong with this album. This was picked up secondhand in one of the local record shops, and it's a blast from the past. When I was younger, I wouldn't buy the same records as my friends had. Just couldn't afford it. So I would tape their stuff, and they would tape the stuff I had, and that way you got access to an awful lot more music. So I tended to buy things like Rush, a lot of the AOR type stuff, Scorpions, all that kind of stuff. Other friends bought different bands. One of the bands I didn't buy but taped regularly were Kiss, and this album is brilliant. Pictures of the Night. If I can get it to show properly. There you go. There you go. Picked this up recently for a very good price at one of the local record shops. Superb album, brilliant rock album, and probably the last Kiss album that I particularly like. At the same record shop, and at the same time, I picked up this. Now, this is an album I've been after for a while in a good copy. Seen plenty of copies around, but not in decent nick, and this is in really good nick. This is Desolation Boulevard by Sweet, and it contains my favourite Sweet song, which is 16s. No brainer to pick up, and again, got it at a very good price, so no complaints there. So that's, again, blast from the past. Sweet were one of those bands when I was a kid, before I even kind of really got into rock music, led me down that path. Just the whole sort of theatre, the guitars, drums, you name it. Brilliant band, and love listening to that stuff to this day. This is another record fair buy, and this is one of my teenage crushes. One of many, but probably the one that was my first teenage crush. And this is Grace Slick. This is Welcome to the Wrecking Ball. A real soft spot for Grace. Love all her solo stuff. Love the stuff she did with Jefferson Airplane, stuff she did with Jefferson Starship, and always did something a little bit different. It was never just straightforward. You always got something a little bit more from Grace. So there you go, Grace Slick. And finally, the last one I've picked up is an artist I'd never been able to get away with. Couldn't stand his vocals. Appreciated the songwriting, but never got away with the vocals. But I've recently started to try and re-educate myself. So I bought a couple of the albums. This is one of them. This is Bob Dylan's Bring It All Back Home. And lo and behold, I love it. For some reason, it's finally clicked. Can't explain why, but it just has. It's great stuff, and I will be hunting out more. I have picked up Blonde on Blonde, so I've got those two, and there's no doubt I'll be picking up others from there. So there you go. That was just a very short introduction video. Like I say, there are a number of contests ongoing at the moment that I think will give you a broader understanding of what my record collection is currently like. I hope that wasn't too tedious, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Bye now.